Hi guys, it's Rena from Simply Actions. I'm just going to quickly show you how to install your ACR presets and then show you how my workflow looks like when I'm using my ACR presets. So first what you're going to do is you're going to open up your Finder window. You're going to have your presets folder unzipped. You might need to use an unzipping program to do that, and I believe Zypeg is good for Mac and WinZip is good for Windows. And you're going to have these open. Make sure you back up this file so that you can access it later, and open up a second window in Finder. Go to your Go menu, hold down your Option key and go down to Library, because Library is hidden. Then you're going to go into Application Support, Adobe Camera Raw, and then Settings. Now this will be empty, and what you'll do is you'll copy everything but your how to install video and your document here, and copy everything else and paste it into here. Don't drag, or else you won't be able to save it into this file folder anymore, so do a copy and paste. Next you're going to want to open up Bridge. So if you have Bridge CC or Bridge CS6, this is what it's going to look like. You want to go into your computer section, go to wherever you have your unedited raw files. So for me, I keep them in my external hard drive in a folder called unedited, and then that's where I can find these files. I name them by the date of the session, and then I open it up into Bridge, and this is what it looks like. So basically what you want to do, you can, at this point, this is when I cull my images. So right after the session, I'm going to cull my images, and I'm going to pick the best ones from the session for final editing. This is the first step of my workflow. You can do the culling in here in this window, or you can do it in Camera Raw. I prefer to do it in Camera Raw because even when you drag this little thing over and make your windows, like your pictures, bigger, they're never quite big enough for me to be able to see for sure that I've nailed my focus. So what I like to do is go through and select all of the images and open them up in Camera Raw. So I'll show you how you do that. You just go Command A or Windows key A to select all, and then you right click and open in Camera Raw. So now that everything's open in Camera Raw, I go through and I make sure that I've nailed the focus for the ones that I want to keep in my edits, that I want to final edit. So for instance here, you're going to watch to see this yellow triangle. Make sure it disappears before you assess whether you've nailed your focus or not, because it can look a little blurry with that yellow triangle there. It's still loading. If you're going to use this image, let's say this is an image you want to press this little dot here at the very end, and that's going to make it a 5-star image. And that'll give it a filter of the 5 stars. If you change your mind, you can just click to the left of it and turn that off. I've already gone through and chosen the ones that I feel are really good for the edits. So basically, once you've gone through your entire session and 5-starred all the ones that you want to keep, you just click Done. Once you click Done in Camera Raw, it's going to apply whatever changes you've made to your images into Bridge. So as you can see now, I've got 5 stars on the images that I wanted to keep so that I could edit. So now at this point, I want to filter them down. So I'm just dealing with the images that I want to deal with, not with the ones that I've thrown out. So basically, you go to your star menu and you go to Show 5 stars, and then it'll give you all of the images that you've culled. So luckily it's all still selected, and basically what I just want to do is right click and open in Camera Raw. I know it's the same thing that you did earlier, but this way it's a little bit more organized because you're just dealing with the images that you want to deal with. So now my second step for my editing process is applying the ACR presets, which you can find here in the presets panel. Here you'll see the film look presets and the luscious look presets. There are a little bit more in the luscious look because they do give you a few variations within each preset to kind of assist you with finding the one that fits you best. Film look is very versatile, so it's actually not really necessary to have so many different changes. Film look is a little bit more of a contrasty and polished, brighter kind of clearer edit, whereas and cleaner edit, sorry. Whereas the luscious look is very dreamy, very matte, and kind of not very contrasty in their edits. So that's kind of the difference between these two sets. With this session, I ended up using Film Look Baby for most of it. So I'll show you what it looks like on here. So now, as you can see, when I first apply it, it's not initially very pretty in my opinion, because there's a different look that I want to go for this. The reason why is because my session was being shot in natural light, so some of my session is a little bit underexposed, some of it's properly exposed, some of it's on the edge of being overexposed. So really it's just a matter of, adjusting the preset to match each light setting. So and this kind of works well to kind of explain why I did my presets the way, or how I suggest you work with these presets, because everybody shoots different. Some people shoot cool, some people shoot warm, some dark, some bright. So some are just bang on. Those people are amazing. But basically, you can't really just make well, I found that I couldn't make these presets match everybody's shooting style. So my suggestion is once you've applied the preset, to go into the basics panel, and this is where you'll be able to adjust it so that it can work for however you shoot. I wouldn't go into these other panels, because honestly it's just going to change the preset and probably confuse things a little bit for you. So instead, just stay with the basic panel, and you'll see that it'll actually get pretty easy to fix from this point on. So basically, first we're going to start with the exposure, because I feel like it's really underexposed, and I always tend to fix my exposure before I fix my my white balance, because as you can see, when it's darker, it looks a little bit warmer, but then as you brighten it, it actually cools it off a little bit. So you don't want to have something too cool. So I always do my exposure first, and then I'll do my white balance next. And so I might take it down just a little bit, because I feel like she is a little warm, and I do like my babies really pink. So basically you can go in and you can add contrast if you feel it's necessary. You can, if you find that the highlights are a little bright when you're putting up your exposure, and but you do like how the shadows look, then you can go in, leave the exposure where you like the shadows, and then bring your highlights down, and that'll kind of darken the highlights for you and bring them back for you. Shadows can be brightened if you go this way, if you go to the right. Blacks as well can be lightened if you go to the right. I would stay away from clarity, because any side of these, if you go a little too much, it looks really weird on your photo. So I tend to leave this at 0. And then you can play with vibrance and saturation however you feel fit. But basically, this is where you want to kind of stay in your adjustments, kind of keep it in this main panel. So now that you've got this done, you've made some adjustments to this preset, and you've got a few more images with the same lighting, the same coloring, the same setting, and it could seem like, oh wait, well now I'm going to have to do that for each image. Well, no, actually, because what you do is you press down Shift and click on the last image, and then you just click Synchronize. You click OK, and that's going to batch edit all of these images for you so that you can move on to your next set. So I'm going to show you really quick just a couple more presets, how they look. For this one, I really love how black and white looks on it from the Luscious set. It looks so pretty. And then here I'll show you with this one what Baby Smooth looks like. And this one I would adjust it just slightly by adding just a little bit more contrast, because I really like the depth of the shadows. And I might make it a little less warm and a little more purple, just because I like kind of more of a pinky baby. And I might add a little bit more vibrance as well, because I do like the yellows that come with this. So that's how I would adjust that. For this one, I'll show you again what Film Baby looked like. So with this one, it's a little bright, as you can see. So you could bring down the highlights if you feel like the shadows are really pretty. I would also bring down the exposure just a little bit, and I would also make it a little cooler. Another thing you can do is whenever you have white or gray in your image or black, you can go ahead and use this little dropper tool, and you can kind of try and find something that looks as close to 50% gray as you can, and click on it, and it's going to give you what, you know, what Adobe Camera Raw feels like your white balance should be according to that reading. So for instance, with this kind of darker green, it's gonna, or gray, it's gonna look a little bit cooler. Over here we'll see what it says, like, so it makes it kind of pink. So I kind of liked it best here. So that's great. And then after doing all that, you can go ahead and grab all of them from this set, shift, click them all, synchronize, and OK. And then everything's all edited. So it makes things go by really fast, and you've got basically a great setup where, you know, you're batch editing as you go through with these images. It works really fast. So I want to show you real quick just a couple more of the luscious look. This really great preset that we've got here. Now this preset, when I made it, it was more for when you're doing your dream lighting. So when you have someone backlit, like the maternity photos that you see where the women are backlit, and you just want to brighten it up so it looks really great, so that it's more of a dreamy edit. Well, it actually works really well too when you've got a super underexposed baby. So for instance here, if you see with Cool Dreamy Light, it gives it such a beautiful, cool, but soft, dreamy edit for you. And same thing here, I'll show you with this one as well. And that's just with one click. Now I do know that this one has a bit of a vignette, and sometimes people don't want that. So as you can see, you would have to go into the effects panel to change that. All you have to do is just double click on the amount line, and that'll make it a 0, and that'll take away the vignette for you. So then you don't have to worry about that. So basically, ideally, you will have gone through and edited all of these images so that they were all complete. And then once again, you click done so that all of your changes are applied. So as you can see, it's all like all of it's edited. Whatever we didn't edit, of course, is not edited, but you can see that it's very easy to go ahead and batch edit. You know, the presets that once you've made your adjustments, you can quickly batch edit them in ACR. So my last step for this portion of my editing workflow is to export these images onto my desktop into a folder. There are two different ways you can do that. One is if you have an older version, CS6 or lower of Bridge, you right click and you go to export to and then hard drive, and then that'll allow you to choose where you're going to put it, this folder, and as well name your folder. If you have Adobe Bridge CC, you go to Tools, Photoshop, and Image Processor, which will open it up into Photoshop, and then you can choose how you want it to be exported. So you can choose the size of your image, you can choose all these kinds of things, and basically it's just going to process it through Photoshop. It's not going to open Photoshop per se. It's going to just process it through, use Photoshop as a way to create these raw images into JPEG images that you can use to edit with. And that's just basically how I do the first part of my workflow. The second part, like I said, is I do a batch edit in Photoshop later on with my finishing actions that I choose for the session, and and then I go through with each image and retouch whatever blotches are on the baby, or smooth the skin. I do all that by hand, and then as I'm going through, I save them, and it takes about 2 hours per time, so it's about 4 hours in total for me to finish editing a gallery that's normally around 60 to 70 images. So it's really definitely time saving and a lot of fun to do it this way. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how I use my ACR presets, and I hope that it gave you a little bit of an idea of how awesome these ACR presets can be for your images. All right, thanks guys. Bye.